Remember the smell of motor oil and fresh-cut grass? The sound of a screen door slamming shut, and the rattle of a bike chain as kids raced down the block? For many families in the 1970s, the garage wasn't just for cars, it was a treasure chest of everyday life. A little messy, a little rusty, but full of stories. Today, we're looking back at 15 things you could find in almost every American garage in the 1970s, from old tools and oil cans to roller skates and dusty bikes. 1. Coffee cans full of nails and screws. Every dad had at least one, usually tucked on a shelf or workbench. Coffee cans, Maxwell House, Folgers, you name it, were the universal storage containers. Inside? A lifetime supply of nails, screws, washers, and bolts, all jumbled together. Back then, folks didn't run to the hardware store for every little thing. They reached into the coffee can and made do. 2. Rusty bicycles. No garage in the 70s was complete without a couple of well-loved bicycles leaning against the wall. Banana seats, high-rise handlebars, and paint jobs that had seen better days. These bikes were freedom machines for kids, carrying them from dawn until the streetlights came on. Rust was part of the charm, proof that the wheels had been ridden hard and often. 3. Oil cans and grease rags. Before plastic bottles and easy-pour containers, motor oil came in flat-top cans you had to punch open with a spout. Garages smelled of oil, grease, and gasoline because dads did their own oil changes in the driveway. Grease rags, often just old t-shirts, were always nearby. It was messy work, but it saved money, and it gave the garage its signature scent. 4. Wooden workbenches. Usually homemade, these workbenches were the heart of the garage. Scarred with saw marks, paint drips, and burns from soldering irons, they told the story of every project. Kids would sit nearby, watching their dad tinker, learning how to fix instead of replace. The workbench wasn't just a table, it was a classroom. 5. Roller skates with metal wheels. Before smooth polyurethane wheels took over, kids rattled down sidewalks on skates with metal wheels. They clipped onto your sneakers with a key that always seemed to get lost. You could hear the sound of those skates from a block away, loud and clunky. Most garages had a pair tossed in a corner, waiting for the next warm day. 6. Lawn darts and croquet sets. Summer afternoons meant games in the backyard, and the garage was storage central. Lawn darts, yes, the sharp, metal kind, were both beloved and a little dangerous. Croquet sets, with their wooden mallets and colorful balls, promised a slower kind of fun. These games came out on weekends, then got packed back into the garage until next time. 7. Mason jars of paint brushes. Old paintbrushes never got thrown away. Instead, they sat stiff and crusty in mason jars, their bristles hardened by half-dried paint. Families reused everything, even tools past their prime. A jar of brushes told the story of every project, bedroom walls, backyard fences, even kids' school projects. 8. Roller push lawnmowers. Not everyone had a gas mower yet. Many garages still held the old-fashioned reel mower, the kind you pushed, blades whirring as they chopped grass. It was quiet, simple, and powered by nothing but elbow grease. By the late 70s, most people had moved on to gas-powered models, but the reel mower was a holdover from an earlier time. 9. Cardboard boxes of Christmas lights. Long before plastic tubs and organized storage, holiday decorations lived in cardboard boxes. Inside, tangled strings of big, colorful bulbs waited patiently all year. The lights were fragile, often burning out one by one, but families kept them anyway. Pulling out those boxes each December was like unwrapping memories. 10. Spare tires and hubcaps. Garages often doubled as storage for parts of cars past. A spare tire leaned against the wall, maybe a hubcap or two stacked nearby. Back then, people fixed cars themselves instead of trading them in so quickly. Those old parts told the story of road trips, breakdowns, and Sunday afternoons under the hood. 11. Wooden baseball bats and mitts. Kids didn't leave their sports gear in their rooms, it lived in the garage, ready for the next pickup game. Wooden bats, cracked but taped up for one more summer, and stiff leather mitts with the smell of dirt and grass baked in. Before organized leagues took over, baseball was a neighborhood thing, and the garage was the locker room. 12. Rusted tin toolboxes. The classic metal toolbox, red or army green, sat heavy on the workbench. Inside, tools passed down from grandfathers, hammers, pliers, wrenches, and maybe a tape measure that always disappeared when you needed it. They weren't shiny, but they worked. Every tool had a story, every dent and scratch a memory. 13. Jars of nuts and bolts in baby food jars. If coffee cans weren't enough, baby food jars did the trick. Screwed into the underside of shelves, the lids held jars full of screws, washers, and nails. With a twist, you had just what you needed. It was recycling before anyone called it that. 14. Camping gear. Coleman lanterns, sleeping bags rolled too tight, and a tent that always seemed to be missing one pole. Family camping trips were a big part of the 70s, and garages stored the gear in between adventures. Even if the trips didn't happen every summer, the gear stayed put, just in case. 15. Old coolers. Big, bulky coolers, usually red or blue, with metal latches, waited for the next picnic or road trip. They were scratched and dented, but they kept sandwiches cold and sodas frosty. Before fast food stops became the norm, families packed coolers for long drives. The cooler was as much a part of the car as the glove box. The garage in the 1970s was more than just a place to park, it was a museum of family life. Every can, every bike, every jar told a story about how people lived, worked, and played. Which of these treasures do you remember from your family's garage? Let us know in the comments, and if this trip down memory lane brought a smile, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes, the best way to move forward is to rewind.